how young up to how old?
We take it from 12 years and above. 12 years and above because we believe that's a vulnerable age where a child is thinking of whether I'm going to be in school or I'm dropping out or I have a little breast here or I have some little pubic hair there. I have to start utilizing it.
I was laughing just a few moments ago because you were talking about, being 12 years old saying, oh, I have some breast or I have pubic hair. And listen, let me tell you something for those listeners and viewers right now. Mama Nneka is not afraid to go there with these kids. These little babies ain't thinking about this stuff like that. And Mama Nneka had them playing games where their bodies was touching up on each other. I was just like, what in the world is this? Hey, entre leaders. Happy Wednesday and welcome to the 38th episode of the Leaders Lab podcast. Today, we are back in the beautiful, well, actually, I can say back on the beautiful continent of Africa. For the last 2 weeks, we've been talking with an international NGO by the name of the Kesho Fund. And this week, we are going to the beautiful country of Ghana. And we're going to be, I'm going to introduce you to Nneka Youth Foundation, a foundation that I actually worked with through the Kingdom Mission, TKM. And without further ado, I want you all to say hello to, we call her Mama Nneka, dear Auntie Cecilia. Hello and welcome to the Leaders Lab, Mama Nneka.
Thank you, Dr. Charity, for this opportunity. I'm more than excited and I'm so elated this Wednesday morning for this great opportunity.
Let me just tell you all, Mama Nneka is one of the most, she's such a wonderful soul. Okay. She is such a wonderful person to be around. And she does so much in the community. And we're going to chat a little bit about Nneka Youth Foundation and what they're doing. But just to give you a little bit of background about them, Nneka Youth Foundation was established in 2012 with 500 children from 10 communities and now has reached over 27,000 children across 19 districts in 4 regions in Ghana. This woman has been on the move and has been doing amazing things right there in Ghana. And Mama Nneka, I'm going to ask you a couple of questions because I want you to share with us like the purpose of Nneka Youth Foundation. So what has the overall purpose of the organization been?
Thank you, Dr. Charity. Nneka Youth Foundation came into being to really give livelihood to children who are from deprived and underserved communities, to really let them believe in themselves, to know that they can come from such communities, but can still be assets to themselves and to their communities and the world at large. Instead of settling for teenage pregnancy, drug abuse, school dropout, we really want to give them that believing that, yes, they are human beings just like anybody else. We know that they have the potential, but that they lack the opportunity. So our mission is to really try to really get them to a stage where they can become world changers. Yes, that is basically what the purpose of Nneka Youth Foundation has been from the very onset. And going forth from there, we include also if we say youth, it can be young, it can be, coming up, growing up, youth, women, young women, girls out of school, trying to give them hope to bring them back into the fold of making strides in society. Yeah.
All right, excellent. Now, Mama Nneka, I first have a question for you before we go further into this. Can you please tell me, what does Nneka mean? How did you come up with this name, Nneka Youth Foundation? Like, what does the name Nneka mean?
Neka means mother is supreme. It's an Igbo language. Many people question me whether I'm a Nigerian or not. I'm really a Ghanaian, but I read Things Fall Apart from Chinua Achebe, one of the African Writers series. And there was this character in that suffered so much called Okonkwo, was sent into exile. He decided to go to his motherland. And when he got there, he was received and life burst forth for him. And he exclaimed, Neka, meaning mother is supreme. The children we are working with, or we decided to work with, frankly, are children that are from challenged backgrounds majority of the times. They are given birth to by teen mothers. Over 60% of such children are given birth to by teen mothers. So they are children that are mothered by children, and they end up being with their grandmothers, their aunties, while their mothers come to the city and other places seeking greener pastures that do not exist. So you can imagine how much they go through. So whilst we bring these children to our fold, we mother them. We make them feel at home. We don't keep them 24/7, but our encounter with them alone is enough, a big uh, opportunity for them to really feel loved. And from my own background, I know what mother means to me, what I have to go through growing up in such conditions, challenged conditions. And I have not become a burden on society. I feel strongly bringing these children also, giving them the kind of mindset some of us had, will be a great thing. And I have a mother who has been everything to six of us single-handedly. So when I put all
Wow.
this together, I said, look, the name cannot be anything other than Neka, meaning mother is supreme.
I remember when it's called, I guess it's called the Neca Chant. But after we would do our presentations, or after we would speak to the kids, you would come up and have them to do the chant with the clapping. They were like, Neca, Neca.
Let me do it for you. Neka, Neka, mother supreme.
Yes,
You
ma'am.
remember?
I remembered it
And you
because
see
I
how
was
it catches up with them.
absolutely, and the kids love it. But then what got me was when you changed it from saying Neca to the person who was speaking. So when Karen would speak, you would have them say Karen. When Troy would speak, you would say Troy. And then it was
Yes,
funny because
yes.
at first they were trying to say Dr. Charity and it was too many syllables. So they just said Charity, Charity,
I remember.
Charity Supreme.
Supreme.
Oh, I love it. I love it. So
Yeah,
and so your name is Cecilia. Of course, people call you Auntie Cecilia, but most people know you as Mama Nneka. Most people
exactly.
know you as Mama Nneka. So Mama Nneka, can you please tell us what has Nneka Youth Foundation accomplished since you founded it in 2012? So now here we are, 2021. From 2012 to 2021. I know it's been so many things, but what has Nneka accomplished in that time?
Yeah. When we started this program in 2012, 15 schools had 0% score in their basic school examination results. And we realized it was too much. It was so heartbreaking. So we decided to see how we can collaborate with education, to see how children can pass, keep them in school. We have been able to work with education. And as I said in my intro, that we want to give a mindset to these children. Apparently, not that they cannot, they can, but they need that propping up. And frankly speaking, when we started working with education in the communities, we step our feet, we changed that situation where now we don't have any 0% score in the schools we work in. We don't teach them mathematics. We don't teach them English, but we make them know the need of learning. We make them believe in themselves. We make them to be bold to be able to approach situations as it's supposed to be. We make them believe to say no to what they are not supposed to accept. And it has really helped. And I tell you honestly, the directors of education, the people who work with in education, are all testifying to the fact that at least we've made a change in that aspect. Also, the number of girls that drop out of school had come down, drastically. Uh, and the boys that will settle for marijuana, that will cause them to be out of school, has also really reduced drastically. And I tell you honestly, it's a big thing. We also realize that the girls that have dropped out of school, if I say true no fault of theirs, I mean it, because of poverty, the cycle that is leading them, what is pushing them into settling for just peanuts, to just give themselves out to men to abuse them and impregnate them and drop them, at least. We couldn't just leave them there. We started finding out how many of them we could reintegrate into school, and we've done a number of them also back into school, and especially those whom we can get somebody to, through advocacy, take care of their children, and those who cannot come back to school for one reason or the other, we have started giving them basic vocational entrepreneurial skills. Okay, and we give them psychosocial support as well, to know that life has not come to an end, with their not being able to continue their education. So basically, that's the kind of thing we have done so far. And we have done a lot of community engagements in the sense that we bring in all stakeholders. That's education, every local government authority, parents, teachers, chiefs, queen mothers. We bring them together in a forum, including the children. We call um, community engagement, where we are able to hear the issues from the children, what their challenges are, parents, their challenges, and see how we all can collaborate to keep these children in school and keep them on track so that they don't become burden on society.
It's a beautiful work that you are doing there in now, not just Accra, right? It's not just Accra, because
Accra, we just have a little space of Accra. Accra is just little. We have just a few communities in Accra. We are really in the hinterlands, in the villages. Actually, you mentioned earlier that we are in 30, we are in over 30 communities now. We are still in 4 regions. Yes, we've reached over 36,000 now. I think we're still working on the previous records.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. That's powerful, Mama Nneka. So with you've told us about some of the impact that you've had community wise. Could you share maybe 1 to 2 stories about individual students whose lives have been changed because of your organization?
Yes. Uh, some of them, maybe I may share videos with you later for you to see if you could even show little documentaries and all that. Some of them could not just go to school, uh, even though they are willing to go to school. We saw some of them through even basic education through secondary school, and some are in the universities now. They are in the universities now. Even one had even completed, and that can never have happened in their lifetimes. And we really empower them. We do a lot of advocacy to see how we can get their children taken care of, okay, so that they could go to school or learn a trade. There are young women who have learned a trade. They have 2 or 3 children with multiple fathers that we've really empowered, through our vocational skills and psychosocial support. And they are now on their feet working to take care of themselves. And these are the kind of things that really give us the encouragement, or give us motivation, because our impact is very tangible and our impact is very visible. And if you want me to give thousands of examples, I have them there.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, you don't. Well, I don't know if we will have time for the thousands at this time. But definitely.
And Dr. Charity, remember, Dr. Charity, remember, you have been part of this journey as well. You
My
encountered Nneka
daughter.
Youth Foundation
Yeah.
not long, for a very short time, but you were caught up. You went there even to the bedroom of one child and you saw the
Yes.
situation and you could tell that
Yeah.
story, not me at this stage. Okay, so you can
Yeah.
imagine she wouldn't have been in school without you. And that is why we need people like you to come and see what they can do in the life of one child. Yes, one child at a time. And that's what we are looking for.
And I find it very interesting that I came with TKM, with Elder Karen and Elder Troy, and their organization. I came with them in January last year, 2020, and we came right at the beginning of COVID. And so we were able to be there, to be on the ground, to experience what you are doing there in the communities. We went to visit many of the schools and was even able to serve the community. It was life changing for me. It was absolutely life changing for me. And my question is, has COVID had a negative impact on the way that Nneka Youth Foundation has been able to be managed, or to continue its usual operations during this pandemic, or has it been not a factor, not a negative impact?
That's a big one. Let me ask you this question, Dr. Charity. You were supposed to have come back in January this year. Were you able to come back here to pick
I was
another
not.
child? You were
I
not
was
able to
not.
come. TKM could not come back because they would have come back this year. But where are they? And they have so many of these children they support as well. Assuming every year they come, they add on. Are you with me? They pick more children.
Yeah.
But their
Yeah.
inability to come due to COVID alone in that aspect has really affected us greatly. Then also
Wow.
programs, we have big programs, having over 3,000 children in program every year. COVID period, we could not do our convergence. The children could not travel from all over the four regions to one space. We have to move. Even the COVID, despite the COVID, we couldn't just leave our children who were always waiting or are still waiting for us to be with them. So we had something we call satellite camps. We moved to
Mm.
various communities, but we could not cover all the four regions with all the over 300 communities. We couldn't do that. So we were able to at least pitch camp in some of the communities and still have program with the children. And those who support our program, we depend on donors because the end users of our services are from backgrounds that they themselves can never in any way pay for the services we render. So we depend on charity, Dr. Charity. We depend on charity. We depend on donors. We depend on support to do our work. And I tell you honestly, COVID had really broken our fronts in the sense that, yeah, many people's businesses who would use their social interventions to support are not doing well, and for that matter, they are not able to come to our aid as is expected, and it's really affecting a lot of our work, and it has a lot of negative impact on our work. I tell you honestly.
So you said that because of COVID, the students couldn't come to your I think the convergence.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
center. Yes,
Okay.
as we would always do, as they will all expect, as all volunteers and all of us enjoy to have during a period. We couldn't do that during the COVID period last year. That's last year, I guess, which we normally meet because of long vacation. And
Mm.
this year, okay, so what we did was that we had to really move from community to community to set
Ah.
up, yes, to set up satellite centers, satellite camps, we call them, not satellites or virtual, we call it virtual, but not purely virtual. Assuming you were a facilitator in the US or China, we will have to link up with you to be able to link up with the children during camp instead of
Yeah.
being there personally with them. And we couldn't call it fully virtual because some of the facilitators were still around to meet the numbers that are in smaller numbers as compared to thousands of children at one sitting. And you can imagine what that meant to us: cost, movement of logistics and human being. looking for places to stay, to have a camp. All were against us. And I also went ahead to say that people who support these programs are not able to do very well this time round, or during the COVID period, because their businesses have gone down. And they use their social intervention to support us in one way or the other, just because the end users, you've seen them all, the end users of our products or end users of our services are not in any way able to pay for them. When you talk about the camp, maybe in your circles, it's like the children, their parents will have to pay for their children to spend a week or two in a camp. But here you bring them in, you feed them, you provide their security, their first aid, their inputs for a whole camp without charging the children. Because if you want them to pay anything little, it means you're not going to be having anybody in your camp. And not that they don't appreciate it, not that they don't know it's necessary for them to come, but the ability to be able to do that because of the background we pull them from. Yeah, from the you saw some, you saw the villages, you saw the communities. Nothing is going on there. But one good thing for us is that we are trying to change the mindset of these children to know that they can come from these places, but they will be able to make it and do better for their children tomorrow. And if they should hear of a camp, they will be able to sit up and be able to pay because they would have been working, because they will be in school and they will come up better. Yes.
Yeah.
And that is why it's necessary. We despite the COVID, we say that yes, we are still having our heads up. It's not easy.
Yeah.
It has affected us big time. Yeah.
Mama Nneka, what so since students or since the children weren't able to come to the conversion center, you said that you all went to them and you were having satellite I guess satellite service or satellite centers. My question is, with these virtual, were you taking your own like technology, or were you like, was it any technology involved? Were you going, with your own computers and having children to work with those? Like, and also, how is that provided for you? Like, how is it from donors? Is it from how does that work? Because that's not something that I actually am aware of, and many of our listeners today, or those who may be watching on YouTube, they may have the same question. So how did that work? Like, you and your team, did you go and take technology with you and stayed with the children throughout that session, or could you explain that a little bit for us, please?
Yes, Dr. Charity, we did. Before that camp, that was last year though. Before the camp, we saw that we couldn't do anything without technology. So we had to fall on people to see if they could support us. Unfortunately, we call for computers, we call for routers, we call for data, we call for cable, we call for gensets, because some of the villages don't have electricity per se. So we did all these things thinking we were going to get people to support us. It came to naught. So we had to resort to calling on all our volunteers. Can we borrow your laptop? Can you borrow us a projector? Can you do this? Can we borrow? And that's the kind of thing we did, which was very uncomfortable. Some we damaged because of movement. Some we really spoiled, and we are now even thinking about how we can pay for them.
So how did that work? How did the satellite sessions work?
I said, when we knew that we were going to do this virtual thing and we didn't have the facilities, we fell on organizations, individuals, and unfortunately, I want to believe that the COVID had really made them not to respond to our call. So what we resorted to do was to borrow. We used all the volunteers. We borrowed their laptops. We had to really borrow routers, how do we call it? Projectors, to be able to go along to the communities. We did most of our work pre-recorded. Like facilitators will have to really pre-record some of their lessons for us to be able to project. And then some of the places we had a lot of challenges because of network connectivity. So we still have to bring a few numbers of children together anyway to project the lessons to them, because they themselves are not technologically inclined and they don't have the gadgets.
Yeah.
So we definitely have to do some little groupings to be able to teach them. It was very tedious because we had to move around with logistics and everything. You can imagine, very tiring. And it could only take dedicated volunteers to do such a thing. So that's how it went for us last year. But this year, now that the COVID had eased a bit, what we did was that instead of over 3,000 children in camp for the period, we had just close to 2,000 children, about 9,000, 1,900 plus children this year, just this past June. Because of the COVID-19, normally our vacations would have been on, would have come on in August. A long vacation would have come on in August for all schools, that is all basic schools. But this year, what we experienced was that the academic calendar had changed from August to June, and it was only junior high students that could be on vacation at that time. So instead of having both junior and senior and basic or primary schools being on vacation, where we could pick 12 years and above from even the primary schools, we couldn't do it this time because the primary schools were still on were still in school. It was only the junior highs that were on vacation. So that was another challenge. So this year we cut off the primary school children who, are 12 years and above. Yes, 12 years and above, because they go to school late in some of the communities because of the conditions that exist over there. So we still have 12 years and above in primary school in Ghana. Yeah, so these are some of the challenges we face because of COVID-19.
Wow. Now, what are the, because you mentioned primary school students, what are the ages that Nneka Youth Foundation service? How young up to how old?
We take it from 12 years and above. 12 years and above because we believe that's a vulnerable age where a child is thinking of whether I'm going to be in school or I'm dropping out, or I have a little breast here, or I have some little pubic hair there. I have to start utilizing it. Yeah. So we call it the vulnerable age. And that is where we decide to work with. But our work has spanned beyond that. Beyond that, because when it becomes necessary, we go below that age, depending upon the kind of programs we want to run. And when it becomes necessary, we go above to the university and senior high school levels, depending upon the programs we want to have. But our main focus area is 12 years and above in junior high school. Yes.
Okay. It's funny. I was laughing just a few moments ago because you were talking about, being 12 years old, saying, "Oh, I have some breast or I have pubic hair." And listen, let me tell you something for those listeners and viewers right now. Mama Nneka is not afraid to go there with these kids. I was caught off guard. I was like, "Oh, she is real raw with these kids." Like, but I mean, that's what's needed in these, in these communities. But y'all, I was like, Mama Nneka is talking to these kids, like, making sure that and that's the thing, like they're already aware of their body parts, but I like the directness that you have with them in teaching them how they should see themselves, and not, start at an early age with sexual immorality, or, giving themselves away at such an early age. I mean, but I'm gonna tell you, it caught me off guard. I was like, these little babies ain't thinking about this stuff like that. And Mama Nneka had them playing games where their bodies was touching up on each other. I was just like, what in the world is this? Why is that so necessary? What made you start having these types of interactions with the kids and being so direct with them at this young age? I mean, it's obviously it's helping, but what made you say, oh, I need to get him and get her right now because they're feeling themselves, they're seeing their little body parts. And so why and why? So direct.
Dr. Charity, it's so pathetic. Sometimes I say this with tears. When I went to Education Directorate to pick statistics for the first time, which really drove me into this craziness of Nneka Youth Foundation, basic school, I took statistics, and 3,200 youth that were enrolled into junior high school. By the time they finished their junior high school to be getting ready to secondary school, a third had dropped out of school. 1,142 children had dropped out of school. I call it children because 12-year-olds were getting pregnant. Yes. And what drove me was that, you came to my village, you came to the community where you work in some of the schools. I stood up on my corridor one morning and I could count 5 girls who were carrying their babies. And I was tempted to ask whether they were carrying their siblings or they were carrying their babies. And it came to light that they were all carrying their babies. They didn't come as a group, they were passing one after the other. 2 were supposed to have been in class 6. 2 were supposed to have been in junior high form 1, that is a 7, grade 7, if I should say, and 1 in 8. One morning, I said this with tears sometimes in my eyes. And that was what made me to run to the director of education of the municipality at the time to find out to get these statistics. And I ran to health to confirm as to what the percentage of the dropouts was when we talk about drug abuse and teenage pregnancy. And it could be confirmed that about 84.5% of such numbers were as a result of these vices. Yes, some the rest as a movement from community to community, the rest as health, or the rest as death or something. But this number, and I remember the director of health at the time said, this is a verifiable number. So what about the number that is not verified? You get what I'm saying? So there's no other way I could handle this but to let them know that yes, you are sexually active, even at age 12. Okay, if a third could drop out of school in an academic year in the whole municipality, it's not something we should trivialize. And that is why I have to go direct. We have to get people with the same mindset that can work with us with the same kind of feeling, passion, to be able to go to them to tell them that, hey, child, you have a future, you have a tomorrow. Despite the challenges that I have gone through, I've gone through the same challenges, but I've been able to go above them. So why would we have to play with the words? We have to let them know. At a point in time, some of the parents, that were interviewed, they felt we are giving too much to their children. Why are you exposing our children? And we say, hey, guys, your children know more than you do. Because we have psychologists. Dr. Charity. Yes, we have psychologists and counselors among us as volunteers. Let me tell you the truth. Dr. Charity, we don't move. We have health workers, we have psychologists, we have professors of the universities and from education. We work with people like that. They feel we've given them the platform to reach out. Okay, so they move. So they are able to find out what these children know that their parents and their teachers don't know. Okay, so we are guided by such to be able to move according to what you observe when you came to Ghana. Yes, and that resonates very well with the children. You see them laughing, you see them sometimes feeling like they are feeling shy, but they go away, fulfilled, and they go away with knowledge to be able to say, no, back up. Should a man walk to them and say, yes, take 5 Ghana cedis or 2 Ghana cedis and have sex with me so that you can use it to buy your sanitary pad? No, they'll be able to say, no, back off. I can't do that. And we can't get all of them to do that because the poverty still, is working against them because they can't provide for their basic things, which really cause their mothers to drop out of school at the same age.
Yeah.
Okay, so we are basically trying to break the cycle where my age mates now have their great grandchild, whilst I am now having my first grandchild. So you can imagine.
Yeah.
Okay, so we are trying hard to really change that mindset so that the cycle is broken. So we have nothing else to do but to go direct, as you observed.
Listen, that you need to be talking to direct to some of these older ones because listen, if I tell y'all how Mama Nneka goes in with these little 12 years old, y'all be thinking that she's talking to somebody that's 18, 19, 20, 21. And they just sit and they absorb what she's saying. But that, I remember when we were at uh when we were, I believe it was your center, and you were telling us about, no, I think it was, we were at dinner at your home, and you were telling us about how men, grown behind men, behind is the politest way that I could say, but grown men would address these, or yeah, I guess I could say, address these young girls, and by saying, hey, if you do this sexual favor for me, then I will give you, this amount of money so that you can buy your basic needs. And I mean, it was just like, really, really.
Yes.
And the fact that I mean, like you said, like you were sharing with us, many of them feel like they have no other way, they have no other means to be able to provide for their basic needs. So when, I understood the overall mission and the purpose of Nneka Youth Foundation and what you have been doing with these young people, I mean, honestly, it was heartbreaking. It was heartbreaking to hear some of the things that have happened. And then also, it was encouraging to see how these young people are really taking advantage of the opportunity to learn and to spend time with you in this community, in this organization. So what are here's a question. What are some of the goals that Nneka Youth Foundation has for this year? Now, 2021 is almost over. We have about a little less than 3.5 months left in 2021. So what are some of the goals that Nneka Youth Foundation has planned for the rest of this year?
Normally, what happens is that we set our goals at the beginning of the year to reach either horizontally or vertically numbers that we want to work with or communities we want to work with. For now, I should say that we have really gone far into the year, and majority of them have been covered. We try to set achievable goals, to be frank with you, which we work with. And this year, we're having left with just let's say 3 months to go. Our mega goal is to reach out to over 3,000 of our children that we've worked with throughout the year, to be able to have a normal celebration with them we call Christmas party. That one is just a day program with whichever community we set our foot in. We make sure that we fetch with them, we interact with them, we cook for them, we give them clothing, we give them school input, all these numbers. Every child comes in and goes back with smile, so that at least they will not know that, or they will not feel that we only come to teach them, hey, do this, do that, and be fine. And no, we want to make them feel very important. So that's the biggest goal we still have left to carry, especially as far as the children are concerned. And we still are working on the communities. That's parents. When we work with the children and we don't get the parents buy-in, it becomes very difficult for us. So we are on the journey. As I told you, I'm even going back today. We have reached out to over 19 communities already. And some of the things that the children came up with this year, which really made us want to concentrate so much from now till the Christmas period on the parents, is that most of them are suffering because there's so much violence, gender-based violence in their homes, physically and uh, mentally, what they go through. And I don't know whether the COVID-19 had really entrenched this, for what the children are going through. So we decided to really leave the children a bit, not to leave them fully. We are still working with them anyway, but we are concentrating so much on the communities. If you see my head, I had a cut here just about 4 weeks ago, just because I was trying to separate, yes, to separate a violent attack on a wife by a man. I thought I was strong enough. I think I shared a post of that. And we ended up in the police station and all that. And for that matter, the children in that relationship, you can imagine what they have been going through. So we put it on ourselves to go around. So for the past 4 weeks, we've been on the ground, and we've done 20 communities so far, bringing the community leaders, bringing all stakeholders together to tell them about the importance of thinking about these children that they call theirs before they take any action. And abusive relationships will not help. To not bring development. It will not bring peace, because if you end up sleeping in the hospital or sleeping in a police station, you are affecting your children, you are affecting every society. So we are on that. So major goal we have till the end of the year is this community engagement and stakeholder engagement. And when it becomes necessary, some of them, we are giving them basic business skills, something that you can train them in doing, like maybe ice cream, little soap making. Within 3-4 hours, they get it, and you move on, so that they don't become liability to their spouses to the point where they will be abused. Yes. So this is a major goal we are working on for this year. I think maybe we'll have to share the subsequent goals next year. Yeah.
Yes, of course, and we would love to have you back on the Leaders Lab podcast again next year, so you could tell us some of the initiatives for next year. So, and Mama Nneka, I know that time is winding, and you have work to do. It is about what, maybe 11:30, almost 11:30 a.m. there, Ghana time, at the moment. So, now I just in wrapping it up, obviously monetary donations are ideal, However, in the event that a donor would like to contribute in some other way, how can donors help other than making financial contributions to the Nneka Youth Foundation? Like, how can someone be involved and help Nneka Youth Foundation to make the community impact that you really desire?
What happens is that we don't have a big staff to work with. We are just about 5 permanent staff working, and our volunteers are over 90. There are about 91 volunteers that we work with everywhere. People come from outside to volunteer with us 3 months, from the US, from Germany, from all over, to work with us for 1 year. They move around with us at least, so that at least whatever expertise they have, they bring on board. We chart our own path, and we move as we are exposed to challenges, and we turn them into opportunity to reach out. So yes, if you are out there and you are not in Ghana, even in Ghana, if you are out there and you want to join us, Dr. Charity, you were here. You move around, right?
Yes.
You move around with us. So that's the kind of thing we do. So as we know the terrain and we have volunteers, they can move along with us while some are here, others are here, because we are in a vast area we are working in. So yes, we need volunteers on ground. We know your background, what you can bring on board. When we find out and it helps, we will be willing to have you around here to support us. Yeah. And financially,
Of course.
Financially,
that would be ideal, especially when it comes to trying to provide for the children in the community and things like that. But also, listen, if you are a tech company, if you have computers, you have things like that, donating technology is also, sometimes that's even more powerful than donating money, because it costs a lot. So if you have any type of tech gear, that would be amazing to be able to donate. But first of all, we need to know, how to get in touch with Nneka Youth Foundation. So, Mama Nneka, how can donors and potential partners connect with Nneka Youth Foundation?
We are on our website, our Facebook, and I am so much on WhatsApp because I'm not technologically inclined so much like you. That is why I want to give it to the children so that they wouldn't grow up to become like me. Yes, so you can reach out on our social media handles as well. I'll put all of them out there, and you can show it
Yes.
to our viewers. Yes, and
Yes. So
yeah,
you can check in the show notes and also in the description box under the video for Nneka Youth Foundation's website and also their Facebook page and their YouTube channel as well, because they have things that they produce on their YouTube channel too. Mama Nneka, Auntie Cecilia, I want to say
before you say bye bye to me, let me come in. You help me right now with talking about technology. It's because you have come down and you've seen what we do. Technology
yes.
is key, and I tell you honestly, whatever we do, if you give us the money, we'll use it to get our input. So as you link up with us in terms of support, and you have school bags, school inputs, bicycles, things like that for children who are in deprived communities. So you can support us with such. And Christmas is coming, as I mentioned. Can you hear me? And I mentioned that our mega Christmas party is coming on soon. And these are children that don't have a bottle of, how do I put it? A bottle of soda to drink throughout the year. For you to even come on board to provide a bottle of soda to a child on Christmas, it's a big thing. We give them clothing, shoes, school input, food. We cook and we give them fresh food as well. So if you are hearing us today, remember December is around the corner, which is 26th every year since 2012. Every year we move to one district every year to fetch the children. And this year we are going to be in whole West in the Volta region to fed over 3,000 children. So please box the items and send them to us right now in Ghana. Don't throw anything away. We need all of them, and the children will be happy.
Wow. There you have it. This is Mama Nneka with Nneka Youth Foundation in Ghana. I don't want to just limit it to say in Accra, Ghana, but she's doing major things all over, and she's making such a wonderful, wonderful impact in that community there. Mama Nneka, I definitely want to say thank you so much. I can't wait to get back again. That time with TKM was just, like I said, it was life changing. And, you know, I have a special investment there. My journalist, my little journalist, I keep tabs on her to make sure she's doing well,
She's
and
doing
please.
very well.
Good. I'm so proud of her. I'm so proud of her. Make sure you tell her that I asked about her. And who knows, maybe you can get her to come to your home and she can be on the Leaders Lab podcast with me, my future journalist there.
You know what I'm going to promise? When I get to the village, I'll see if I can get connectivity, maybe tomorrow in the afternoon. If I get connectivity, I'll link you up, and I promise you see her face and you can hear her voice. She's so proud of you. Yeah.
Oh, I'm proud of her. She's doing, oh my goodness. And it's just amazing. Actually, if any of you follow my travel brand, which is 𝗥𝗘𝗔𝗗𝗚, I did a video of my time in Ghana and what Mama Nneka was saying, how we went to a village and we saw the living conditions of one of the students there. That was my journalist, that's Jennifer. And so I actually have footage of that and what that was like. But I'm so proud of her because against all of the adversity that she's facing, she's still very determined to reach her goal and become a journalist. Like this is it's very moving. It's very touching. And so I'm just so proud of her. But again, I wouldn't have met her without you. And I wouldn't have met you without TKM. So the work that you all are doing, it's just, this is what real global influence is like. This is what real global influence is about. It's not just about being, an influencer on social media, showing off luxurious things. No, it's about making legacy, those type of legacy impacts. And so I just want to say thank you for what you are doing. And listen, potential donors, listeners, audiences, if you are interested in partnering with Nneka Youth Foundation, as I am a partner of Nneka Youth Foundation, you can find the information down below in the show notes and also in the description box. Mama Nneka, thank you so much for joining us for this 38th episode of the Leaders Lab podcast. And I hope that you have a wonderful day as you continue to move about with all of your activities that you have scheduled for today.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Dr. Charity Campbell, for this opportunity to really interact with you and interact with the whole world. Thank you. You are doing a great job. And I really appreciate your partnership with Nneka Youth Foundation. Thank you.
It's my pleasure. God bless. Well, listen, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for rocking with us on this 38th episode of the Leaders Lab podcast. And I'll see you guys next week in the lab.
Thank you for listening to the Leaders Lab podcast. Visit our website at www.drcharitytv.com.